All right, guys, what's happening? What's happening? Happy Friday to you. It is Friday, May 6th, 2022. This morning, we're going to be talking about vision and where does your vision come from? Like, where the ideas that you have, the goals that you have, the vision that you have for the future of your life, where does it actually come from? Some of us, most of us, probably have as a result of our experiences in life, what we've been through, what we've seen, how we were raised, all of those types of things lead to us having a specific vision of how reality is shaped. And we're going to unpack that this morning. We're going to talk about that because I think, it's something that a lot of people struggle with, including myself. How do you recognize where that vision comes from? And how do you unlock the ability to think bigger and to think in more detail and to be able to see what is actually possible as opposed to what your subconscious mind tells you is the case. That's what we're going to talk about this morning. Let's get rolling.
It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up.
All right, what's happening, guys? Happy Friday to you. I see some lions down there in the comments from my man, Mr. Daniel Good. Appreciate you, brother. Good to see you on here. Matt Johnson, what's happening? Tammy Clark, my girl, I think she's still in Hawaii and up and at 'em in the middle of the night watching with us here. And, man, I appreciate you so much, Tammy. I can't wait to meet you in person. Vinny, Ryan, John, what's happening, guys? Good morning to all of you and happy Friday to you. It is, vision is a topic that, I love to talk about. I love to, dive into this one because it challenges me personally. It challenges me to think about, where does the vision that I have come from? And, what are some of the limitations that I have on myself still to this day after all the work and all the awareness that I've been able to develop over the years? There's still blind spots in my own life. And so, when I thought about what to talk about this morning and, where does your vision come from? The topic is really related to how we are all shaped, that subconscious that we have that takes us to different places. When I talk about your subconscious mind, I think about, I'm talking about what you think about when you're not actively thinking. Where does your mind go? What is it programmed to think? What are the limitations that are put on your mind that you're unaware of? And so that is where your vision comes from, guys. Your vision comes from, a mix of, you can reprogram that subconscious by your active thinking, by what you intentionally think about, your conscious thinking. But in all reality, a lot of your goals, a lot of your vision for what is possible for your future, for what's possible for you, your family, your business, the people around you, it's shaped from experiences. It's shaped from, your lifetime of watching things happen. And so you have to be very aware of all of those things that have happened in your life and how they may have shaped the thoughts, shaped the actions, shaped the reactions that you have to certain things. Because in life, guys, when you see bad things happen to people, those things have an impact on you, especially in a subconscious way, right? We all know people that still suffer from things that happened, 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And those things, they might be traumatic experiences. They might be, major incidents that happen in people's lives. But the same is true for things that happen in your life. You could be really young. And an example of this would be maybe something happened in one of your parents' career and they lost their job. And it was a really tough time for you and your family. Maybe you had to move around. I know a lot of people that have had, to move, or they lost a home when they were young as a child. Their parents lost their home or something like that. And that really does impact your vision as you become an adult, as you get older and you start to experience things on your own. It's important to realize how much some of those things that happened to you when you were young can actually shape your vision as you get older. And so the awareness that you should have of those things and how you should explore those things it takes a lot of intense work over a period of time as an adult to be able to understand where your vision actually comes from. And so I want you guys to think about that this morning. What are some of the things in your life? And listen, some of these things happen to us as adults and they make us hesitant. They put a governor on our thoughts, on our vision, on what we think is possible. And so where your vision comes from is a collection of all the things that have happened to you in your life, or all the things that you've experienced that have maybe happened to other people, that have made you uncomfortable, that have made you uncertain, that have made you nervous that those things might happen to you. And so the more aware you are, the more conscious you are of those things, the more you're able to expand your vision intentionally, and the more you're able to break those chains of the things that you thought at one point in your life were reality or were probable. And you can actually reprogram that thinking through the conscious effort of exploring those things that have happened in your life, and how you have maybe had a bias towards a certain area of your life as a result of, again, things that happen to other people. There are phrases that parents use when they're raising children that can create these things that limit your vision, that limit your thinking, that make you believe that the world functions in a certain way that is not true. Now, you might say, I don't do that. I'm a parent and I don't do that. I don't use those words. Well, be careful, because a lot of us use them, including myself. A lot of people say things, being unaware that those things could be programming people in a certain way. We're all guilty of it in some way, shape, or form. We all have ownership of the things that we might say when we're not careful. But the more aware you are, the higher level of awareness you can develop within yourself, the more you're going to check those words that you use, those things that you say, the way and the tone in which you communicate with the people around you, whether it be your family, your employees, anything like that. All of those things matter, and all of those things have an impact on how people develop their vision for what the future actually looks like. And so I want you to think about that. Think about the hardest time that you've ever gone through in your life. And what was your vision like in that moment? Because a lot of times when we're going through the hardest period of time in our life, the only vision that we have is for the 6 inches right in front of our face, right? We're just trying to get through whatever it is that's challenging us in that moment. But as we develop past that adversity, as the adversity starts to break and we can start to go through that adversity, we start to see the light on the other side of it. Isn't it true that our vision expands completely different? Now we start to see miles out in front of us. So those adversities that you think of when I say that, that moment in your life where, you're knocked down on the floor and you don't know how you're going to get up or how you're going to make it to the next week or the next month. Those things have happened throughout your life, and they've all been little pebbles of sand on a beach of adversity, on a beach of programming that has potentially negative impacts, significant negative impacts on your vision, on your ability to think bigger, on your ability to see what you're actually capable of in life. I work with a lot of people. I interact with a lot of people that are extremely talented. I just said this in our leadership meeting this week. One of the greatest gifts of being a mentor, of being a leader, is to be able to see more in those people around you than they're able to see in themselves, and then work every single day to pull that out of them, to be able to pull that greatness out of them that maybe in a moment, maybe in a season of their life, they can't see. When we learn to do that for ourselves, when we learn to develop self-confidence through actions, through education, through interaction, through experiences, when we learn to develop that self-confidence, our vision is able to expand. So I challenge you guys to think about that as you complete this week and go into the weekend. What does it look like in your life? What are some of those things that might be holding you back? And how do you overcome them? How do you reprogram the vision, and how do you expand that vision? Because I promise you, whatever you think the vision for your life is today, it's much bigger. God has intended you for a lot more than what you have in your mind right at this moment. What you can see for your life, what the potential of your life is, you see it right now, is equivalent to that 6 inches in front of your face that you could see when you were in significant adversity. But what your life is intended for is so much bigger. And it's those things that are holding you back that you're unaware of, that when you become aware of them and you have conversation about them and you work through them and you realize that sometimes those adversities that happen in your life are a result of who you were in that moment. Who you were 10 years ago is not who you are today. And so the adversities that you have faced over the years, those are a result of who you were at that moment. Doesn't define you today. Sometimes we deal with those adversities for years and years. Sometimes the definition of a person and who they were at that moment puts them in prison for a period of time. But the great thing about life is that you get to get out of prison and redefine your life. You get to redefine who you are, and you get to create a new vision. And so where your vision comes from is the constant work that you're able to put in on a daily basis that allows you. We've been given the ability to redefine our vision, to expand it, to get those people in our life that help us expand it, to take the opportunity and seize the opportunities that are in front of us that allow us to show others how to expand their vision. We're given permission to be the example. So think about that. Where does your vision come from? It comes from the experiences that you've had in your life. It comes from the things that have been said to you that have programmed you in ways that you probably don't recognize. It comes from the people that you surround yourself with today. It comes from what you allow yourself to think. How big you're able to dream. How much you allow the governor to be taken off your life. It's a challenge for all of us, guys. All of us. We have to get uncomfortable with the idea of what our lives could become. It's an uncomfortable feeling, right? When you think what is possible. A lot of people don't want that responsibility. But you've been given a gift of life that requires responsibility. So you might as well make the best of it. Man, I appreciate you guys being here this morning. I hope this message was helpful for you. It's a Friday, folks. You know what happens on Fridays. Most people, 11 o'clock, noon, they take off out of the office. Start looking forward to the weekend. First thing in the morning. Most people are probably already looking forward to it, but not people that watch this show, that listen to this podcast. We go out like a lion. Play to the whistle, guys. Make the best of this Friday. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are a massive percentage of your life. Make use of it. Give it everything you got today. Have a great weekend, guys, and I will see you again Monday morning, same place, same time, right here on Morning Perspective. Love you guys. Thanks for being here.
It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up.